Man conquers the world by conquering himself. That sounds noble, doesn't it? But here's the brutal flip. Most men never even meet themselves in this lifetime. They drown in distractions, scrolling endlessly, chasing likes, waiting for permission that never comes. Every wasted hour is another leash around the neck of potential. Men 1834, you're living in the noisiest era of human history. If you don't control your mind, it will be controlled for you. Advertisers prey on you. Fake friends drain you. Women test your frame, and your own addictions quietly steal the fire from your bones daily. You think you're choosing freely, but every just one more scroll is a decision to trade dominance for dependency. Someone else cashes your time for profit. A man sits in a club, bass thundering. She glances, then looks away. He freezes. By the time he moves, she's already gone. The truth? He lost long before she turned away. The real rejection happened inside his head, in hesitation before his feet even twitched. What if every win and every loss in your life was already decided before you ever stepped into the room, before words were spoken? Because that's the reality. The battle is mental, not physical. You win with standards, not tactics. You lose with hesitation, not rejection. Here's the paradox. She didn't reject him, he rejected himself. He didn't run out of chances. He ran out of courage to seize them. You've been told confidence is a mood. Wrong. Confidence is architecture. It's the mind built strong enough to handle silence, tests, rejection, and still stand. If he chases every reaction, you anchor yourself. If he explains too much, you stay silent. If he folds, you stand taller than ever. This isn't polite self-help. This isn't repeat 3 affirmations. This is ruthless clarity. You either master your mind, or you get mastered every day. The mind doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your plans. It responds only to discipline, only to the standards you enforce. He didn't fail because she walked away. He failed because he never acted. She didn't ignore him. She revealed he wasn't ready for himself. Your reality is written by one author, your mind, and until you seize that pen, your story will always be dictated by everyone but you. So, what will it be? Are you the man who bleeds energy in every direction, or the one who directs energy like a weapon? The power you envy, the respect you crave, the women you want, they all orbit one gravity, your ability to rule your own mind. That's why you're here. You came for Thoth's secret, the truth he revealed. The mind is the architect of reality, shaping every outcome. So prepare yourself. We're about to dissect illusions, crush weak frames, and hammer standards into your identity. This is where your transformation begins, not ends. Every victory and every failure begins in the mind. Before a word leaves your lips, the decision has already been written inside your head. The mind isn't just a tool, it's the battlefield, the weapon, and the prize. Whoever controls it dictates every reaction, every opportunity, and every outcome. The men who master their minds master their direction, their relationships, and their wealth. The men who neglect it get ruled by impulses, addictions, distractions. Think about it. How many times have you sabotaged yourself before taking action? How often did hesitation steal what preparation had already earned you? The truth is brutal. Your mind writes the script, and the world merely acts it out. Every success or failure starts with your standards. Men 1834. Skeptical and tired of fluff. You don't need motivation. You need mental discipline. You don't chase outcomes. You architect your internal conditions instead. The mind doesn't respond to wishes or fantasies. It only responds to boundaries, rules, and standards. You either impose them, or outside forces impose theirs. If he wastes energy on excuses, you double down on standards. If he fears rejection, you reframe it as proof you acted boldly. He didn't lose because she said no. He lost because he never entered the arena. She didn't ghost him. She clarified his weakness. What if every moment you feared was already won or lost in silence, long before you showed up? Wouldn't discipline outweigh luck every single time? Your life only changes when you stop chasing approval and start respecting your mental architecture. The mind shapes reality, discipline molds it, weakness shatters it. This is the claim we'll prove. Piece by piece, control your mind, and everything else bends. Fail to control it, and everything controls you. Most men think they're free, but they live shackled to invisible chains. Every decision filtered through whether someone approves, notices, or rewards. That's not freedom, that's captivity. If her text arrives, your chest loosens. If her silence lingers, you collapse. That's not a relationship, that's slavery disguised as romance. What if your self-respect had nothing to do with anyone else's response? What if silence didn't lower you but revealed your internal foundation? Doubt creeps in. But what if I'm not attractive yet? Mastery doesn't start with looks or status. It starts with boundaries that refuse collapse. She doesn't crown you valuable, you crown yourself valuable. Without that, every interaction becomes begging for crumbs, not standing as a man on his feet. Picture this. He refreshed his phone 27 times in 1 hour. Her reply never came. He told himself she disrespected him. The truth? He disrespected himself first by handing her control over his peace. No reply broke him because dependence already ruled him. Weakness doesn't begin outside, it begins inside. Rule. If she withholds validation, you withhold dependence. You never collapse because her silence echoes. Her silence only exposes whether you already stand firm. Ask yourself, why should your heartbeat answer to a vibration in your pocket? Why should your peace depend on someone else's thumbs? Every man repeating, "She ignored me, she disrespected me," misses it. She didn't disrespect you. She revealed your lack of self-governance. That's the mirror. He didn't lose because she ghosted. He lost because he measured himself by her reply. The real defeat happened before she even vanished. You want freedom? Stop outsourcing your worth. Stop attaching your masculinity to female feedback. Stop collapsing into excuses when the validation machine stops feeding you. Men claim they want independence, but they check their phones more than they check their standards. Screens become chains, and validation becomes the lock. Every second wasted refreshing your phone proves dependence. Every anxious heartbeat waiting for her response proves slavery. Every collapse proves your cage is still inside you. If he worships attention, you worship discipline. If he crumbles at rejection, you rise with standards. If he needs approval, you need nothing. She doesn't determine your value. She exposes it. She doesn't make you weak. She shows where weakness already lives. She doesn't define you. You do. The invisible chains are not her silence, not her choices, not her judgment. The invisible chains are your dependency. Break that, and you walk free. Reframe the game. Her no doesn't humiliate you. It purifies you. Her silence doesn't reduce you. It filters you. Her rejection doesn't wound you. It liberates you. Because when you stop collapsing at silence, you discover strength. When you stop chasing validation, you discover clarity. When you stop begging, you finally breathe. Most men think chains are physical, but the strongest are psychological. No cage is heavier than the one you build inside your own skull. The difference between weakness and mastery? Standards. Weakness reacts to every text, every silence, every look. Mastery holds ground, untouched. Because standards guard peace. Imagine never again losing sleep over unread messages. Imagine never again shaking because a stranger withheld attention. That is self-respect. That is freedom. She doesn't own your worth. She never did. Every collapse was voluntary. Every chain was chosen. But every standard you set is a key. Break the loop. Validation sought is slavery accepted. Peace outsourced is power surrendered. Self-respect outsourced is manhood erased. You either reclaim it or die without it. Ask again. What if your self-respect had nothing to do with anyone else's response? What if freedom began the moment you stopped asking permission? If he depends, you detach. If he craves, you center. If he collapses, you steal. That's the difference between a boy and a man. The invisible chains aren't outside. They live in your reflex to beg, collapse, depend, destroy them, and you rise, finally untouchable, finally free, finally respected. Men 18 to 34, you've seen the cage. Now you decide, live begging for replies or break chains with standards. Weakness dies. Discipline wins. Because no text message ever defined you. No silence ever broke you. No rejection ever reduced you. Only you did. Only you can stop. So what's your choice? Keep living shackled, waiting for a ping, or break dependence forever, stand tall, and claim the only validation that matters, your own. Your freedom begins where her power ends. Your strength begins where dependence dies. The invisible chains fall the second you stop needing what was never yours. That's when you win. Not when she answers, not when she notices, not when she approves. You win when nothing outside can break what's inside. Frame is not a trick, it's not a script, it's not a pickup line. Frame is belief in your own unshakable value. Period. When you walk into a room, people feel what you believe about yourself. If you doubt yourself, you broadcast weakness. If you know, you dominate. Why do some men walk in silent, yet the air bends around them? Because authority isn't in words, it's in presence, rhythm, and restraint. The loudest man rarely holds power. The one who doesn't rush, doesn't chase, doesn't explain, he commands through stillness. This authority doesn't beg, it anchors. Silence communicates strength. Over-explaining screams insecurity. You don't rush to fill the void because you trust your presence to hold weight. That's authority. At a table of 10, he spoke last. Everyone had filled the air with noise. When he finally opened his mouth, silence hit like gravity. Why? Because he wasn't chasing approval. He owned his rhythm. He didn't hurry to prove. He trusted silence. He carried his frame like an immovable fortress. Authority is not volume. Authority is centeredness. You don't talk more to prove worth. You talk less because worth doesn't need constant validation. If he rushes to prove, you slow down to own. If he panics to fill silence, you breathe, watch, and let them squirm. Ask yourself, when did desperation ever inspire respect? When did over-explaining ever build authority? Respect doesn't follow chatter. It follows self-assurance. It follows frame. Men collapse because they confuse activity with impact. Talking more doesn't make you powerful. Talking aligned makes you unforgettable. Noise is cheap. Stillness is expensive. Doubt rises. When do I make a move? Answer: when your move is aligned, not desperate. Timing proves control. Control proves mastery. Frame is tested when the room stares at you and you don't flinch. When silence grows heavy and you still breathe steady. He didn't dominate because of words. He dominated because of restraint. He didn't win because he was loud. He won because he refused desperation. Authority starts inside. If you believe in your value, you don't scramble for confirmation. If you don't believe, every interaction becomes a nervous audition. Frame is the invisible crown men either wear or chase. If you wear it, you're undeniable. If you chase it, you're forgettable. The man without frame asks, "Am I enough?" The man with frame declares, "I am enough." That's the difference between neediness and sovereignty. When others test you, silence is your weapon. You don't explain away accusations. You don't defend every word. You stay grounded. Authority holds. Why does a king sit on a throne without explaining why he's king? Because position speaks louder than explanation. Frame works the same way. He didn't intimidate by force, he radiated stillness. He didn't command by yelling, he commanded by existing. He didn't need applause, he defined standards. Authority isn't performance, it's alignment. When your actions and words match your belief in yourself, others follow without question. Consistency equals trust. Frame equals gravity. If he shakes when tested, you steady. If he fumbles to prove, you pause. If he craves acceptance, you embody presence. Authority lives there. Frame is magnetic. People orbit those who don't need them. People chase those who don't chase back. People respect those who respect themselves first. Remember, over-explaining hands power away. Silence collects it back. Authority is not noise, it's control. And control always comes from owning your frame. Ask, why do men with no words still dominate a room? Because their inner authority speaks louder than anything their mouths could manufacture. Frame is not arrogance. Frame is not acting. Frame is belief turned posture, turned presence, turned silence. Frame is the law that rules respect. Authority doesn't require permission. Authority doesn't beg for recognition. Authority doesn't chase validation. Authority exists because you refuse to collapse, even when the world watches. If he doubts, you decide. If he wavers, you anchor. If he explains, you embody. If he panics, you remain. That's frame. That's law. Men without frame become noise, easily ignored, easily forgotten. Men with frame become gravity, impossible to ignore, impossible to forget. Which one do you choose to embody? This is the law. You don't need more words. You need deeper belief. You don't need more approval. You need stronger frame. That's authority. The law of inner authority is brutal and simple. Own your frame or lose it. Men don't follow noise. Men follow stillness. Selectivity is discipline in motion. It's not about being cold. It's about protecting the only resource you never get back, your attention. Standards filter chaos. Most men scatter energy everywhere. They chase, they agree, they compromise until they're exhausted. Selectivity is refusing that waste. Selectivity is sharpening your identity through boundaries. Women don't respect the man who bends for everything. They respect the man who draws the line, who says no without apology, hesitation, or guilt. Do you want to be accessible or unforgettable? Every yes dilutes your impact. Every no concentrates your value. Scarcity builds magnetism. Availability cheapens it. When you say yes to everyone, you bury yourself in noise. When you start saying no, you rise above the static. That's clarity. He deleted half his contacts in one night. The next day, silence felt brutal. A week later, he realized the peace was louder than noise. Selectivity feels empty at first because you're detoxing from chaos. But peace isn't emptiness. Peace is proof you stopped prostituting your attention to the unworthy. If they demand constant access, you demand higher standards. If they beg for endless validation, you offer boundaries. That's not arrogance, it's leadership. That's strength. Selectivity cuts weaker men out of your circle. It denies distractions their grip. It separates those who use you from those who respect you. Reframe this. She didn't lose interest, she exposed her standard. You didn't lose her, you discovered your filter. That's selectivity. That's identity sharpening itself. Men collapse because they confuse attention with affection. Just because someone notices you doesn't mean they value you. Selectivity protects you from counterfeit connections and cheap validation. You'll hear the doubt, but won't rejecting make me alone? Yes, alone is the training ground. Alone is where your value is forged. Being alone isn't punishment, it's calibration. It forces you to sit with yourself and realize you are already enough without external confirmation. If he chases to feel wanted, you detach to feel grounded. If he spreads thin to be liked, you concentrate to be respected. Selectivity isn't avoidance, it's targeting. You don't hide from connection, you heighten it by only investing in those worthy of your time, focus, and loyalty. Noise drains you. Selectivity sharpens you. Most men drown in endless availability. Few men rise because they guard their presence like a throne room. He didn't collapse from loneliness. He grew from stillness. He didn't starve without attention. He thrived on standards. She didn't define him. His boundaries did. Every time you tolerate less, you signal more. Every boundary you enforce speaks louder than flattery. Your absence becomes power because it forces recognition. Why do women respect the man who says no more than the one who says yes? Because no is leadership. Yes is appeasement. Selectivity transforms your relationships. Weak men are scared to lose approval. Strong men are willing to lose people to protect their self-respect. That's authority. Do you want people to use you like a vending machine or respect you like a monument? Selectivity decides the answer. Pick wisely. She didn't ignore you, she tested you. You didn't push her away, you held frame. Selectivity isn't rejection, it's declaration. Standards define you louder than begging. If your phone doesn't buzz, that's freedom. If your calendar isn't packed, that's clarity. Empty space is not lack. Empty space is leverage. Selectivity is painful only when you're addicted to noise. Once detoxed, silence becomes addictive. You start craving quality instead of quantity. That's the discipline. Men break because they believe rejection subtracts value. Reality. Rejection exposes alignment. The wrong ones walk, the right ones arrive. Standards sift fakes from gold. If he clings to be chosen, you filter to choose. If he accepts scraps, you demand respect. If he bends, you straighten. Standards sharpen identity. Every time you enforce one, you declare who you are. Every time you compromise, you dissolve. Selectivity is identity under pressure. Why does desperation repel? Because it smells like lack. Why does selectivity attract? Because it smells like abundance. One begs for scraps, the other commands loyalty. He didn't need company, he needed clarity. He didn't need endless options, he needed direction. She didn't complete him, his selectivity revealed he was already whole. The discipline of selectivity is simple, but brutal. Stop scattering, start filtering. Stop proving, start protecting. Stop saying yes, start saying no. That's how men ascend. Most men are ordinary because they accept everything. Extraordinary men filter. Ordinary men drown in validation. Extraordinary men swim in standards. Which one do you choose? Remember, if they demand constant access, you demand higher standards. That rule alone can reshape your relationships, your peace, and your identity. Selectivity is sovereignty. Every no you enforce is a yes to yourself. Every standard you uphold is a declaration of worth. Selectivity isn't subtraction, it's multiplication of value. Your energy is your currency. Spend it recklessly, you go broke. Invest it selectively, you grow rich in respect, peace, and authority. That's reality. The discipline of selectivity is not about isolation, it's about curation. You don't push everything away, you choose carefully what earns the right to stay. He didn't fear silence, he embraced it. He didn't chase chaos, he filtered it. He didn't dilute himself, he concentrated. That's the discipline of selectivity. The man who masters selectivity becomes unforgettable. Why? Because he's rare. Scarcity creates value. Standards create respect. Selectivity creates identity. Without it, you dissolve. With it, you dominate. Ask yourself now, do you want to be accessible or unforgettable? If you're unforgettable, it's not by chance, it's by discipline. Selectivity is that discipline. The world teaches men to react instantly, as if speed equals strength. But reaction is slavery. You become predictable, controlled by whoever provokes fastest. Stillness is different. Stillness is power. It's the refusal to dance to someone else's chaos. It's a weapon disguised as quiet. Who truly holds power? The one who shouts first, spraying words without aim, or the one who makes everyone expose themselves against silence? You don't win by being the loudest. You win by being unshaken. Your silence becomes the mirror that reveals others' insecurity. When the weak feel ignored, they panic. They escalate, trying to break your calm. That's when their true nature bleeds through. If he escalates, you de-escalate. If she storms, you stay composed. If they demand energy, you conserve yours like ammunition. Micro-story, she accused. Pointing, yelling, pacing, he sat, silent. Her voice sharpened, her words cracked. His calm was unbearable. She collapsed into silence, defeated. He didn't win by shouting louder, he won by refusing the invitation to chaos. He didn't react, he controlled the stage. You fear stillness will make you boring. Wrong. Boring to the shallow, magnetic to the strong. Your calm becomes gravity, rare, undeniable, unforgettable. Desperation explains itself endlessly. Discipline doesn't explain at all. The man who doesn't flinch forces others to justify themselves, burning their energy while protecting his. Ask yourself, do you want to be accessible, predictable, forgettable, or scarce, unreadable, unforgettable? Stillness carves your identity sharper than noise ever could. She didn't leave because you were silent. She left because she couldn't manipulate silence. He didn't dislike you, he feared reflection. Rule: if they demand constant reaction, you demand higher standards. If they push chaos, you anchor deeper. Stillness isn't withdrawal, it's strategy. Every storm runs out of breath. Every attacker eventually folds under their own weight. Stillness outlasts, because silence never exhausts itself. When you stop reacting, the world recalibrates. Weak people vanish. Strong people lean closer. Stillness isn't emptiness. It's presence, so heavy it cannot be ignored. Men 1834. Hear this. The world profits from your reactivity. Your boss, advertisers, women chasing attention, they all feed on predictable reactions. Break the cycle. Become the man who doesn't flinch at provocation, who doesn't chase validation, who doesn't move until he decides. Your silence unsettles because it means you're sovereign. Nobody dictates your energy. Nobody puppeteers your emotions. Your stillness is declaration. I move only when I choose. That's why stillness is feared. It cannot be controlled. It cannot be bribed. It cannot be baited. It only answers to its own command. He didn't lose by saying nothing. He won by saying everything without words. He didn't freeze, he reigned. He didn't retreat, he advanced differently. Stillness is not absence, it's pressure. Pressure so strong it makes others collapse into confessions, contradictions and cracks. You don't speak, you force revelation. You think action makes power. No. Control makes power, and the highest control is stillness, the choice not to move when provoked. So sharpen it, practice it, deploy it. When the world screams, you remain anchored. When chaos hunts reaction, you weaponize stillness. Every man wakes up with a limited battery. Some waste it proving themselves to people who already decided against them. Others invest it where it compounds. Energy leaks kill men faster than failure. You don't collapse because the mountain is too high. You collapse because you carried worthless stones. You explain. You defend. You argue. And every word drains you. Stop paying rent in someone else's head when you need to own yours. Why do you think kings are scarce with words? Because attention is currency. Every sentence costs something. Every argument is a bill you cannot afford. He didn't lose her because he was quiet. He lost her because he poured his fire into explanations instead of building his empire. You must see attention like wealth. Would you hand out your paycheck on the street? Then stop handing out your energy to undeserving crowds. Micro story. He wrote 3 paragraphs defending himself in a group chat. No one cared. That night he deleted it, said nothing, and went to the gym. 45 minutes of sweat gave him more strength than 45 lines of defense. He realized silence invested in iron always beats noise, invested in validation. If he burns hours proving himself, you burn calories improving yourself. If he argues, you build. If he complains, you upgrade. Men lose decades debating with people who never respected them. Meanwhile, their purpose rots. What's more expensive, missing small opportunities or wasting life on trivial ones? You're afraid you'll miss out? Miss 100 meaningless chances to secure one legendary one. Abundance doesn't reward scatter, it rewards focus, precision, conservation. Stop chasing every conversation. Stop defending against every insult. Stop arguing with every fool. They're not opportunities, they're traps disguised as validation. Every time you explain yourself, you confirm guilt to the weak. Every time you withhold explanation, you confirm strength to the strong. Ask yourself, who holds more power, the man running breathless, justifying, or the man conserving breath, choosing silence and letting the world speculate? He didn't ignore you, he protected his focus. She didn't abandon you, she revealed her inability to value silence. That's not your loss. Rule: if they drain, you exit. If they bait, you starve the hook. If they demand, you conserve. Your energy is sovereign property. Opportunities multiply when you master energy. You gain clarity, you sharpen judgment. You strike precisely. The man who conserves energy dictates the tempo of every interaction. The crowd thinks noise equals relevance. Wrong. Silence plus results equals dominance. Results need no defense. Only weakness explains itself endlessly. So conserve. Your battery is not infinite. Protect it like treasure, because it is. Energy fuels identity, focus, masculinity. Waste it, and you dissolve. From today forward, stop renting space in cheap conversations. Start owning space in your body, your mission, your craft. That's how men create legacy. Tactics are sugar highs. They spike your confidence, then crash it. Standards are backbone. They don't fade when the moment ends. They define who you are. Every man has tried tactics, pick-up lines, memorized routines, fake confidence. They work temporarily, but once exposed, you collapse. Standards endure when tactics collapse. He didn't fail because his trick stopped working. He failed because he never had rules shaping his identity. Without standards, you're temporary. Micro story. He memorized 50 tricks. They worked until they didn't. Then he stopped performing. He set one rule: speak straight. Suddenly, his life simplified. Notice the shift. Tricks demanded effort. Standards demanded presence. Tricks exhausted him. Standards freed him. Because standards don't require memory. They require decision. Simplicity became power. You're here thinking tactics equal strategy. Wrong. Strategy without identity is theater. Standards are identity. They dictate your reactions before the world even pressures you. Do you want tricks or transformation? Do you want temporary applause or permanent respect? Because you can't fake backbone. You either live it or not. He didn't lose her because his line failed. He lost her because he thought games build loyalty. Standards, not scripts, build trust. When you set standards, you set direction. People test them. You enforce them. That's respect. No explanation required. Identity becomes self-enforcing law. If he flexes tactics, you flex standards. If he tries clever lines, you enforce clear boundaries. If he performs, you embody rule beats trick. Doubt whispers, what if you fail? Sticking to standards. Good. Failure is feedback, not death. Every broken standard exposes weakness and gives you practice enforcing strength. Failure under tactics shatters you. Failure under standards builds you, because standards aren't about perfection. They're about persistence. You don't need flawless, you need consistent. Imagine you're building a house. Tricks are decorations. They impress for a moment. Standards are foundation. They hold regardless of storms. Which one survives a lifetime? He didn't ignore the game. He outgrew it. She didn't reject his standards. She revealed she couldn't meet them. Identity filters chaos effortlessly. Standards simplify everything. One rule clears 100 decisions. One standard silences 10 doubts. That's the power of becoming a man governed by principle. You'll notice the shift. Women respect the man who says no more than the one who says yes. Selectivity emerges from standards, not excuses. Every tactic needs timing, memorization, perfect delivery. Standards require none of that. Standards only require you to choose who you are and stand there. If you collapse, collapse with standards intact. If you rise, rise because standards carried you. Either way, you never lose yourself. That's true dominance. Stop searching for lines, routines, quick fixes. Those are bandages. Start building rules, clarity, backbone. Standards transform you permanently. Tactics make you temporarily entertaining. Every time you live by standards, you win, even if you lose outcomes, because the real victory isn't applause. It's identity that cannot be shaken. So today, decide: tactics or transformation, tricks or truth. You either memorize 50 lines or you live by one rule. Standards decide everything. Your real enemy isn't her rejection, it's your reflection. Every excuse collapses when you face yourself, stripped of illusions, stripped of noise, brutally honest. Each morning you stand before glass, not to fix hair or clothes, but to confront standards. Ask one piercing question: would I follow me? If you wouldn't, why should anyone else? Respect begins with self-recognition. Leadership isn't declared, it's demonstrated through conviction. Without conviction, your words collapse into empty performance. You fear her rejection, but the deeper rejection already haunts you, the one from your own reflection. That wound stings louder than any silence. He stared into the mirror after another failed night out. Not his hair, not his clothes, his eyes. Would I follow me? The silence answered. That silence exposes truth. You can't fake loyalty to yourself. You either command respect by living your standards, or you collapse under practiced excuses. If he hides behind tricks, you expose weakness. If he begs for approval, you demand alignment. Standards, not performances, decide whether reflection salutes or condemns. He didn't fail because she said no. He failed because he never said yes to his own rules. Identity wasn't anchored. She didn't leave because she disliked him. She left because he wasn't leading himself. You can't expect others to follow where you hesitate. This mirror test removes all camouflage, status symbols, clever words, fake confidence. They dissolve. What remains is raw. Are you worth following even silently? What if you hate what you see? Good. That's honesty. That's step one. Today becomes the first day you quit lying to yourself. Pain is clarity. Clarity is leverage. If the mirror screams no, you change before demanding yes. Otherwise, you're just noise begging for attention. The man who can't face his reflection will crumble under pressure. The man who respects his reflection already carries authority others can't deny. Ask yourself daily, would I follow me? If the answer is no, stop demanding respect. Build it. Standards first, results later. Identity always. He didn't collapse because others rejected him. He collapsed because his reflection already abandoned him. External losses echoed an internal mutiny. He lacked command. She didn't ghost him because she found better. She ghosted him because she felt nothing anchored. His reflection was hollow, so attraction dissolved. If he avoids mirrors, you confront them. If he hides in distractions, you dismantle them. You face the question until silence finally surrenders. Mirrors don't care about excuses. They respond only to consistency. Standards create stillness. Stillness creates presence. Presence creates respect. Respect creates inevitability. The cycle begins inward. Don't chase external validation before internal alignment. Would you follow yourself into chaos, into difficulty, into risk? If not, you're demanding more than you've earned. This test isn't decoration, it's weapon. Every morning, you sharpen identity, strip lies, and demand truth. That's the discipline that outlasts doubt, rejection, and fear. The reflection doesn't lie, it doesn't flutter, it doesn't negotiate, it delivers the verdict. You can ignore it, but you cannot escape it. Ask again, would I follow me? That answer defines today's moves. tomorrow's outcomes, next year's legacy. Leadership isn't given, it's reflected back daily in your eyes. If he blames circumstances, you blame weakness. If he blames women, you blame unpreparedness. Your reflection exposes reality. Complaints collapse. Standards remain undefeated. She didn't deny his worth. She confirmed his unreadiness. He didn't lose potential, he lost discipline. Mirrors don't create failure, they reveal what's unfinished. The mirror is brutal because it has no stake in your comfort. It shows truth, without editing, without negotiation, without applause. Can you handle that? Every empire begins with one man confronting his reflection, one decision, one standard, one refusal to keep avoiding himself. That's the origin of transformation. Your ritual is simple. Stand, look, ask. Would I follow me? No decorations, no excuses, just the raw audit of your identity, daily enforced. This test reveals hierarchy. Weak men collapse under avoidance. Strong men sharpen under pressure. Your answer today dictates whether you remain background noise or become signal. He didn't suffer because she rejected him. He suffered because his reflection already quit. You don't rebuild confidence with tricks, you rebuild by obeying standards. She didn't dismiss him because he lacked looks. She dismissed him because he lacked gravity. Reflection builds gravity. Gravity builds pull. Pull builds choice. Mirrors kill illusions. That's their cruelty and their gift. If you can survive the verdict, you can command any room. Leadership radiates from honesty. Ask yourself again, would I follow me? If not, stop performing. Start reforming. Respect requires self-command first. Every other victory is just a reflection of this. The mirror isn't enemy, it's ally. Its silence isn't insult, it's diagnosis. Use it. Enforce it. Until the day silence finally answers yes. He didn't escape failure by chasing approval. He escaped by earning reflection. She didn't admire his words. She admired his stillness. Authority was self-forged. Your reflection is the only judge that matters. Pass that test, and rejection no longer stings. Fail it, and every external yes still feels hollow. This is the mirror test. Brutal, simple, unavoidable. Face it daily. Answer honestly. Build relentlessly. Only then do you command respect, because you finally command yourself. Weak men mourn rejection, counting losses, nursing bruised egos. Strong men laugh quietly, recalibrating perspective, seeing what others hide. Rejection is often filtration, not failure, not defeat. She ghosted him, not bitter, not obsessed. He smiled, focused elsewhere. She didn't reject me, she revealed her level, he said. His energy remained intact, undisturbed. Why call it failure when it could be clarity? Every exit is a lens. Every absence tells a story. Every closure is a doorway, not a cage. Is it denial to reframe reality? No. Denial hides truth. Reframing sees it differently. Weak men distort facts. Strong men transform perception, converting loss into leverage instantly. Every interaction is a test. Every pause is a filter. Every rejection is a ranking mechanism. He chooses the frame, not the circumstance. Power begins inward. He didn't panic because she disappeared. He smiled because her exit exposed incompatibility. Filtering early preserves momentum, energy, and standards. Weak men chase, strong men filter. She didn't leave him broken, she left him refined. The narrative is yours. The story doesn't dictate power, your interpretation does. reframe, and mastery begins. If they exit, you upgrade the frame. If they criticize, you reassign meaning. If they ignore, you amplify focus elsewhere. External events are raw materials for strategy. The law is simple. Stop investing emotion where clarity is absent. Stop defending worth to those who already decided. Stop explaining energy that should be preserved. He didn't fret because she ghosted. He reframed it as liberation. He didn't argue for attention. He redirected it to momentum, results, and personal growth. She didn't define him. She revealed herself. He didn't lose. He filtered. Perspective is power. Understanding is leverage. Alignment with standards, not outcomes, builds resilience indefinitely. Every rejection is a checkpoint. Every disappointment is a lens. Every detachment is an upgrade. What others interpret as failure is actually a recalibration for dominance. Ask yourself, is it failure or is it filtration? Every exit is an opportunity to separate noise from signal. Every loss reveals alignment, standards, and identity truth. He didn't see rejection as insult. He saw it as intelligence. He didn't waste time on bitterness. He preserved energy for meaningful wins and aligned opportunities. She didn't diminish his value. She exposed the gap between her level and his standards. He didn't react emotionally. He acted strategically, turning perception into power. Reframe relentlessly. Turn absence into insight. Convert closure into leverage. Every misstep by others is a training ground for your composure, strategy, and personal gravity. He didn't internalize her exit. He externalized the lesson. He didn't lament. He analyzed. He didn't chase approval. He elevated standards. Identity, not circumstance, dictates the frame. If he complains, you observe. If he laments, you filter. If he reacts, you adapt. External chaos is irrelevant to the internal command center of your frame. She didn't reject his essence. She revealed misalignment. He didn't collapse emotionally. He adjusted mentally. Reframing is the difference between victimhood and unstoppable forward motion. Every exit is a signal. Every silence is a map. Every ending is an upgrade, if you choose to see it as a lens, not as a loss. He didn't suffer because she ghosted. He thrived because he understood her absence as filtration. Weak men fold, strong men sharpen. Perception determines power. Reframes are not lies. They are cognitive weapons. They transform discomfort into clarity, loss into leverage, chaos into selective energy. Mastering this is mastery over circumstance. Ask yourself daily, is it rejection or is it a filter for what truly deserves your attention, energy, and alignment? Discipline of perception creates invincibility. He didn't wallow over what left. He optimized for what remained. He didn't beg for attention. He redirected focus to momentum. Every reframe is a power upgrade. She didn't diminish opportunity. She clarified boundaries. He didn't weaken. He recalibrated. Reframing isn't illusion, it's strategic insight, converting loss into a foundation for selective, uncompromised growth. The law of relentless reframing isn't optional. It's a rule. If they exit, you don't chase. You upgrade, you recalibrate, you operate on a higher plane. He didn't chase approval, he built a fortress. He didn't compromise values, he laid stone upon stone. He didn't shrink to please others, he expanded quietly. He didn't fear judgment, he embraced standards. He didn't trade peace for popularity, he invested in self-respect. Foundations withstand storms when built on unshakable principles. Self-respect is the currency of freedom. Without it, every tactic fails, every line falls flat, and every shortcut leaves cracks in your character's structure. He lost friends, raising standards. Nights were lonely, conversations sparse, but sleep came deep, restorative, and uninterrupted. He discovered the quiet power of inner alignment. If they mock your standards, you don't retreat, you double down. Criticism is noise, consistency is gravity. Integrity compounds while the world debates trivialities. What's heavier, outside rejection or inside betrayal? Ask yourself daily, would you compromise your backbone for comfort or choose solidity over temporary approval from shallow peers? He didn't lower standards for company. He refined his circle. He didn't fear solitude. He relished clarity. He didn't seek validation. He cultivated internal authority. Every interaction is a test. Every opinion is data. Every criticism is an opportunity to reinforce the foundation or identify where alignment fails. Respond strategically, not emotionally. He didn't adjust identity to please others. He strengthened identity to attract the right environment. He didn't conform. He constructed a life measured by standards, not applause. Peace is the proof of self-respect. When external chaos intensifies, internal calm persists. Nights of uninterrupted sleep indicate alignment with personal values and strategic detachment from trivialities. He didn't accept diluted relationships. He prioritized quality. He didn't chase approval. He demanded respect. He didn't tolerate compromise. He elevated standards, building a life of uncompromised integrity. If they dismiss you, double down silently. If they mock discipline, intensify routines. If they question principles, embody them fully. Strength is quiet. Standards are loud. He didn't shrink under scrutiny. He expanded under pressure. He didn't seek popularity. He cultivated authority. He didn't trade peace for presence. He amplified character instead. Integrity compounds faster than charisma. Charm fades, tactics crumble, but stone foundations survive storms. He understood this, and every choice reflected long-term architectural thinking, not short-term approval. He didn't sacrifice solitude for company. He leveraged it. He didn't trade clarity for noise. He doubled focus. He didn't negotiate principles. He reinforced them daily. Self-respect is the true armor. Shields deflect opinions. Swords cut through influence, and the mind remains sovereign. Standards, not reactions, determine your power in every scenario. He didn't apologize for boundaries. He honored them. He didn't negotiate values. He enforced them. He didn't explain his worth. He embodied it fully, silently, consistently. Every stone in the foundation represents a choice. Every act of discipline reinforces character. Every moment of self-honor compounds into a structure impossible to breach. He didn't retreat when mocked. He advanced. He didn't compromise under pressure. He solidified. He didn't fear solitude. He mastered presence. He didn't doubt standards. He lived them. He didn't ghost you. He freed you. Every exit filters out noise, exposing the path toward clarity, higher standards, and relationships that respect your energy and vision fully. She didn't disrespect you, she tested you. Challenges aren't punishments, they are invitations to assert boundaries, strengthen backbone, and define who you truly are beyond reactions or concessions. They didn't ignore you, they exposed themselves. Silence is revealing. Pay attention to actions, not ego. Their absence uncovers character, leaving only those aligned with your standards nearby. He didn't win, you didn't play. Some games are rigged, shallow, or fleeting. Power resides in refusal, selectivity, and the discipline to engage only with worthy stakes. You didn't fail, you recalibrated. Collapses are feedback loops, blueprints for refinement. Each setback teaches discernment, helping you eliminate the trivial and elevate toward uncompromising standards. Every exit is a test, every slight a filter. Stillness in observation allows you to separate ego from essence, ensuring your attention goes only to worthy endeavors. Challenges are not personal attacks, they are mirrors reflecting your level. Respond with alignment, not defensiveness. Your calm reveals mastery, while others reveal their limitations through reaction. Filtering the unworthy sharpens identity. Each experience teaches selectivity. Every person who departs or disappoints strengthens your ability to discern loyalty, consistency, and integrity in all future interactions. He didn't shrink under exposure, he expanded awareness. He didn't react to loss, he analyzed opportunity. He didn't compromise values, he reinforced them through deliberate, disciplined, daily practice. She didn't frustrate, she clarified boundaries. He didn't chase, he observed. He didn't plead, he paused. Every interaction either proves alignment or exposes misalignment, leaving your energy intact and focused. Exits are liberation, not rejection. Tests are invitations, not attacks. Silence exposes levels, not worth. Refusal reclaims power. Recalibration is advancement. Standards are your currency, reactions are theirs. He didn't surrender to disappointment, he elevated strategy. He didn't mourn departures, he leveraged insight. He didn't compromise principles, he doubled them. Every filter refines the circle and sharpens self-mastery. Behaviors do not define a man. Mistakes are lessons, not labels. Every individual carries depth beyond errors, deserving observation without judgment or presumption of character flaws. Every woman is more than her reactions. Context matters. Respect and patience reveal true character, while assumptions risk misalignment and misinterpretation of intent or emotional response entirely. Consent is non-negotiable. Respect is mandatory. Power is influence without force. Persuasion must arise from clarity, choice, and alignment, never coercion, manipulation, or pressure in any interaction. If your burdens feel heavier than you can bear, seek professionals for support in mental health, legal or financial matters. Strength is knowing when to call for guidance.